Welcome to Asset Servicing Time's special video interview. Today, we're pleased to be joined by two distinguished leaders to discuss a significant milestone in the evolution of corporate governance in Japan. With us are David Runacres, President of APAC and Senior Country Officer Japan at Broadridge Financial Solutions, as well as Imakiire-san, who is the President and CEO of ICJ Inc. For the last 2 decades, the ICJ Platform, a joint venture between the Tokyo Stock Exchange and Broadridge, has played a pivotal role in transforming corporate governance and shareholder engagement in Japan. As the partnership marks its 20th anniversary, we will reflect on its journey, its impact, and what the future holds for investor communications in one of the world's largest economies. Gentlemen, thank you very much. David,
thank you.
The ICJ Platform is celebrating its 20th anniversary. How has Broadridge's partnership with JPX evolved over the years, and what kind of impact has it had on Japan's corporate governance landscape?
Past 2 decades, the partnership has gone from strength to strength. And it leverages what was the original idea, that you should combine the Japanese exchange, who owns the relationship with the issuers, and Broadridge with our world-leading technology in delivering solutions to that marketplace. I think that original idea was correct, because as of today, the partnership has brought great benefits to the marketplace here in Japan, and now sees 96% of the TSE market cap as customers of the joint venture. That's over 1,800 Japanese issuers. It's had a massive impact on the governance landscape, and at a very timely moment when that is very much in the sights of the government and of the global investors, who are all looking at Japan as a major investment opportunity. So it's gone on to be what we expected and more. It's been great.
Fantastic, David. Thank you. Imakiire-san, building on, could you share what are, from your point of view, some of the really important milestones from ICJ's 20-year journey that have helped transform shareholder engagement in Japan?
Thank you very much, Andrew. And ICJ was established in July 2004 as a joint venture between Broadridge Financial Solutions and Tokyo Stock Exchange. And we have been providing local and global institutional investors with digital voting platform service for the last 20 years. With our service, both of overseas and Japanese institutional investors can efficiently and effectively make the digital voting for the annual general meetings process of the Japanese listed companies through our platform until 1 day before the AGM. And the listed companies participating in a platform also can receive the voting results every day during the voting period until 1 day before AGM. And without our service, institutional investors must finish the voting process 10 days prior to the AGM, and listed companies can only receive the accumulated final voting results just once in 1 or 2 days before AGM date. We started the service in 2005 with the 109 listed Japanese companies for the first year. And the last 10 years of the Japanese capital market can be characterized as a period of the continued improvement or enhancement of the corporate governance reform. And one of the provisions of the Corporate Governance Code stipulates that the companies listed on the prime market section of the Tokyo Stock Exchange should join the digital voting platform infrastructure to facilitate the voting process for institutional investors. So as just David mentioned, the number of participating listed companies in a platform has dramatically increased and reached to 1,839 companies as of the end of March this year. And at the June 2024 AGM season, about 36% out of the total voting for the participating Japanese listed companies was processed and delivered to the listed companies through our platform. So after 20 years of our journey, I think we are proud to say that we have become an indispensable infrastructure of the Japanese capital market.
Thank you. That I would agree. You have built something great from a standing start. David, this sort of achievement requires strengths. And what, in your view, are the strengths that have enabled this joint venture to thrive over the last 2 decades, especially when you consider that most other fintech partnerships struggle to endure?
Well, I think it's a combination of both sides of the joint venture are very committed to innovation. Plus, we also are committed to governance, technology, and to our clients. I think that's the human side of the relationship. But I think also that Broadridge has invested since 2020 over $1 billion in the platform that drives this service to Japan. So that means that we've been able to keep the solution up to date, as well as keeping it as stable as possible. And Imakiire-san has certainly said that we're able to keep it stable. We're compliant with all of the regulations required, such as DORA, ISO 27001, SOC 1 and SOC 2. So, all the security certifications for cloud services we're compliant with. And I can't speak highly enough about JPX as a partner in this. I think we are so complementary. But also that, I don't think anybody would disagree that Japan is a unique market in many, many areas, and the market we're in being one of them. I think JPX has brought market expertise to us, and we've helped internationalize that in the offering that we have. So I think the fact that it's gone 20 years shows that we have two very, very complementary partners in this joint venture.
Thank you. Imakiire-san, you've given us some numbers about how widely used the voting platform is. Could you elaborate on that and also touch on how much it's being used by the investors, both within Japan and overseas?
Okay. Currently, we have more than 1,800 listed companies, and that account for 97% of the TSE listed companies in terms of market cap, as David said. That means we cover most of the institutional portfolio held by both overseas and domestic institutional investors. And as for institutional investors, 72 domestic institutional investors are users, and also more than 7,000 overseas clients under the Broadridge contracts are using our platform. And also the major local and global custody banks and most of the sub-custody banks in Japan are also participating. So over the last 20 years, we have established a reliable, huge eco-digital network connecting all related market players for the AGM process of Japanese listed companies.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much indeed. David, as you mentioned, Japan is in some ways a different market with peculiar characteristics. How does Broadridge strike a balance between applying its global expertise and addressing the special needs of the Japanese markets through ICJ?
Yes, that's what the beauty of this partnership is, because the nuances are not just language. Of course, language is one. We have to deliver together everything that we do here in Japan in Japanese. But we also have to have an understanding of the intricate and sometimes complex regulatory and governance differences that happen in this market. And that's where JPX's experience and our leading edge technology come together. So this combination allows us to deliver that to the Japanese market And that's an expertise driven from delivering to over 58,000 public companies on our proxy services internationally. So scale is not the challenge.
No.
That capability ensures that we're able to not only deliver to what the customer or the market requires today, but also add on some new things to that and look at new offerings in future, such as ESG, which we're starting right now, and also other adaptations to allow our products to continue to be relevant to the Japan market.
Thank you. Speaking of technology, Imakiire-san, how is ICJ evolving its technology and services to meet the new demands from the regulators and from the markets?
Okay. Well, ICJ Platform is connecting all market players, listed companies, intermediary institutions, and institutional investors for the AGM process to facilitate exercising the voting rights of institutional investors. So our network connection is the end-to-end and straight-through processing among all market players. And only ICJ can offer such networking services in Japan, taking advantage of the global proxy service network operated by Broadridge. Institutional investors can obtain the agenda information, data digitally, and exercise their voting rights electronically. And the digitalized process allows them to spend more time examining and making analysis of the agenda proposal for AGMs. And for listed companies, they can monitor their voting results on a daily basis until just one day before the AGM. And also supplemental additional information can be posted and delivered to institutional investors responding to the voting trend. And the AGM process had been really time consuming and labor intensive, especially for the voting operation for the overseas institutional investors, because various financial intermediary institutions get involved with the process. And as I mentioned earlier, when they use the conventional paper-based process without ICJ service, they must complete the voting 10 days prior to AGM. However, with our technology solution powered by Broadridge, the operational window for institutional investors can expand up to just 1 day prior to AGM, meaning 10 days expansion of operational window for the overseas institutional investors. Currently, more than 80% of overseas voting is processed through ICJ Platform. And in other words, we also contribute to the strengthening and enhancing the operational efficiency and resiliency of financial intermediary, such as global custody and sub-custody banks. And also, we just launched a new service last year to expand the coverage over the remaining 20% of overseas voting. So the one and only functionality of ICJ Platform can offer is that we have the last 1 mile connectivity network with listed companies. There are a lot of communication channels to deliver voting information between global custody and sub-custody banks. But ICJ is the only institution who can digitally deliver a huge amount of the voting results from the local sub-custody bank to listed companies and transfer agents in a timely and efficient manners. Or this is simply because ICJ is supported by our two shareholders, Broadridge and TSE.
Fantastic. Thank you. David, I'd like to go back to 3 letters that you mentioned earlier, ESG and ESG access. Could you say a little more about this and also what other new innovations you're bringing to the table?
Thank you. ESG Access is a relatively new offering from Broadridge and ICJ. It allows the end users to effectively look at ESG metrics across the marketplace, and we think that's a very, very unique, but also very, very valuable service in a changing market. Interestingly, the ICJ service is actually the G in ESG. So it's a very, very relevant, very relevant service. We're also looking at further enhancements to what we do together in the marketplace. We're currently enhancing our participant information disclosure capability using the JASDEC PS solution from Broadridge. That will be coming up later in the year. And we're looking at further ways to digitize the solutions and employ things like our investor insights product to allow our clients to get better ways of looking at the marketplace more broadly. So also we're looking at, from a Broadridge point of view, we're looking at bringing participation into US issuer voting to the Japan market in the next 6 months to allow Japanese retail investors to finally vote for their US shares in the marketplace. So I think that's an awful lot of new things coming up, which are very good for the Japan marketplace overall.
Absolutely. Imakiire-san, we've just heard from David about the next 2 to 3 years. If you take a long-term view, what are the trends that you see, and how do you envisage that ICJ's role will develop over that long term?
Thank you. Well, I think our mission is to build a communication platform to connect listed companies with their shareholder and investors. And for the last 20 years, we have focused on the expansion of electronic voting platform. And I believe we have achieved a great success and reputation, but we still aim high at the further expansion of the platform users with enhancing the secure and resilient operation of the platform. And we have established one and only network platform connecting all related market players. So based on the network, we will move on to build a communication platform for listed companies, financial intermediaries, and investors. And recently, the Ministry of Justice in Japan started the discussion to amend the corporate law of Japan. And one of the agenda is to enhance the transparency of beneficial shareholder. Since ICJ, together with Broadridge, has been handling beneficial shareholder information for the last 20 years and has a sophisticated communication network connecting all related market players. So I believe we are well positioned to offer a viable technology solution to the market for this purpose. And Broadridge has already launched a similar service in Europe for SRD2. Also, JPX is always ready to support us. So considering the rapidly changing business and the social environment, I think it is quite a challenge to foresee 10 years from now. But my dream is to build a communication platform where listed companies and investors can digitally communicate with each other whenever they want, and also where a market player can use and access various digital information and data available around AGM process and investors and shareholder engagement activities. And we need new technology and innovation to make that happen, but I'm quite confident to realize my dream since Broadridge and JPX are always supporting us.
Thank you. Gentlemen, this has been a fascinating insight on how a leading technology company can partner with a leading infrastructure provider to have a very positive long-term effect on the development of what remains one of the world's most important capital markets. I thank you both very much for your time and learning more about your work together in due course. Thank you both very much indeed.